Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson from Velocity 2015 in Santa Clara. I'm here with Patrick Lightbody. Patrick, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
So you're the VP of Product Management at New Relic.
Yep.
And so what's up with New Relic here at Velocity? You have a new analytics platform, or you're talking about your platform?
Yeah, so we've been here at New Relic for a number of years, or at Velocity for a number of years. It's always a great place for us. Our business was founded in making websites faster, but over the years, it's our scope and goal has expanded beyond just the raw performance, the actual page load times, or how fast a mobile application starts up, into a broader ambition of helping businesses be successful, and in particular through the interactions that their customers have with software. And so certainly site performance is a big component of that, and that's why we continue to be here at Velocity. But we also want to be here to expand the message into it's also about how do your customers find success using your software? Are they inclined to come back? Do they use the features you want them to use? Are they spending more with your business? And so that's a big part of our platform, and it requires a little more customization, a little more hooks into the business, and that's why it is a platform.
So you called it, that's a really good segue, you called it a platform, not a product.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can you tease out the difference between what a product would be versus what your platform is?
Yeah, absolutely. So behind the scenes, we have that is what I would call our platform. I guess I'll start first with our product. So we have an APM product, that's application performance management, mobile monitoring product, website monitoring products, server monitoring products, and all of those are collecting lots and lots of data, like hundreds of millions of transactions and events per minute. The platform is what powers all that. We're putting that all into this massive, scalable database in the cloud that lets us do our analytics and our visualizations and our data storage. What we've done in the recent years is start to open that up. And so a couple years ago, we allowed anybody to develop plugins. So we've got hundreds of plugins in the community that report on Nginx and MySQL databases and F5 load balancers and send that data into us. We didn't develop that capability. They're bringing it in, and it's complementing the products that we sell.
Okay.
And so we've continued to go down that path, and now we're seeing more and more business data being sent into us, things like purchase events or annotations on top of the existing page views, like what's the user ID, what's the product ID that they're looking at, things like that. And so that's why we look at it as more than just individualized products, but that it's a comprehensive platform for storing all that data.
So is this like a platform as a service, or?
I wouldn't quite compare it to a platform as a service, which is more around hosting applications.
Right.
We're storing a lot of data. We have the ability to run really complex queries in the cloud. We can process, when someone runs a query in our New Relic Insights system, we can process over 1 billion events per minute or per second. And so it's an incredibly powerful platform that runs these queries, but it doesn't run applications. It takes in application data and then lets business users, developers, operations ask really sophisticated questions about their business.
So how are you guys using container technology at New Relic in your framework and in your platforms?
Yeah, in particular Docker, although we're keeping an eye on all the different containers that are out there, but Docker's definitely one that we embraced pretty early. We've actually got two published authors, I believe, with O'Reilly that are writing a book on Docker and are here at the conference that work at New Relic, and they're in our site reliability engineering team. And basically, we decided about, I want to say maybe a year and a half ago, that we just weren't going to deploy anything that couldn't be, put into a standardized container, and that was the de facto way to do anything at New Relic. We use it in a really wide range of ways. So we have some containers that are very long-lived, like our data collection services are collecting, literally 100 million plus transactions per minute and more so. High scale, high volume. They're Java processes that we sit up there and they last for a really long time until we rev them and release a new version. And then in other parts of our system, we have synthetic monitoring scripts. These are little Selenium automated testing scripts that are running and pinging our customer sites and making sure they're functionally working. And for those, we run those in Docker containers, and they last about 6 seconds. And then we kill the container and we start up a new one. So we've got a huge spectrum of use of the technology. And I think it's a good example of how wide-ranging the technology can be used in other companies too.
So is it easy to spin these containers and make these containers?
Oh, yeah.
So the technology is very baked and easy? And
very approachable, yeah. I mean, in the simplest sense, once you've defined your Docker runtime, in some ways you're almost just prefixing any command you'd run, you just put Docker run in front of it. So it's certainly approachable, but you do have to design in a certain way to have your environment packaged up and to make sure that when you make outbound network connections, you're dealing with the fact that it's a little bit different. For example, Docker isolates the network and file system away from everything else, and so it doesn't look like it would if you were making those same calls or same writes on the host operating system.
So the design and architecture is a very important component of using Docker?
It is, yeah. I mean, it's a good, it's kind of akin to the same architectural shifts that people had to make when they moved into the cloud. You didn't want to just take an application and dump it in the cloud. I mean, you could, but it'd probably be pretty expensive, and it wouldn't necessarily work as well, even because the cloud is a little, the ground's always shifting, things are always changing. And so similarly, it's a new set of problems, but with Docker, you want to make sure you design for it in order to really take advantage of it.
So we have a saying at O'Reilly that every company is a software company, and I think you guys feel that same way.
Oh, absolutely.
And why is that now? Because everyone is a software company is a pretty strong statement.
Yeah, it's funny. This is actually a topic of that I'm going to be talking about tomorrow morning at my keynote, but so I'll do a little teaser for that. There's a lot of great examples of how companies almost every company is going through a digital transformation and becoming a software company. But the two I like to point to, one is banks. Very rarely do people walk into their bank anymore, and only 10 years ago you would do that all the time.
Wait in line.
Yeah, you wait in line, you talk to the teller, and now you take a picture of your check that you want to deposit, and that's it. I mean, that's a radical transformation, and what's happened with that is that the interaction point is no longer, do you have friendly tellers? Is the bank nice? Is parking easy? The interaction point is, did your mobile phone crash or not? And people will switch banks if they don't have good enough apps. I personally did. My other favorite example is I lived down in San Diego for a few years, and so I'm a big burrito fan. And I've got this new Apple Watch, and there's actually an app from Chipotle that's called the burrito button.
And you can build a burrito?
You have to set up on your phone ahead of time what your favorite burrito is, but then once I press that button, I get a burrito in like 15 minutes at the nearest Chipotle. And that's just awesome, right? So I'm now more inclined to buy from this particular burrito vendor than the other one because it's easier. And that's the thing, is consumers across the spectrum are expecting higher and higher things out of the businesses they work with, and software plays a huge role in that.
So Patrick, if you could fast forward to next year at Velocity, what do you expect will have changed for New Relic?
Yeah. Well, I really hope that that a lot of the focus that we have right now on going beyond just sort of like steps along the way. There's people are focused on application performance. Before that, server monitoring, basic server monitoring. Velocity, I think, had a huge impact on the focus going from just what's your individual application performance doing, what's the transaction response rate, to what's the end user's experience, right? Is the page view quick? Is it happening quickly or not?
Are you losing sales?
Yeah, and more importantly, is it, Velocity did a great job of, it wasn't just about, what's the page load metric, but what's the perceived page load. And it really pushed a lot of the developers that have come to these conferences over the years to think about that end user experience. But now there's the next step, and you just said it, are you losing sales, right? What is it really doing to the business? How do all these developers and operations folks in this conference today do their part to make the businesses they work for more successful? So I hope that New Relic a year from now has gotten a little further along in helping educate and educate the market in that mission. It's very much a mission for us to, and also that we've figured out a little bit more about it, because quite frankly, it's really early. I mean, it's really hard for developers to get beyond like, this database call is super fast and that's all that matters, to so what? Tell me why it's helped, and so we hope that message will be one step more evolved next year.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you next year, and hopefully that message will be there.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.